Yo, 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 yo. We are back.
Yo, MTV Raps, maybe?
Yo, we are, listen, double feature
Yo.
of loose cannons.
Okay.
You get a double dip.
Get these.
Tuesday, Wednesday release.
I like it.
We are back with another episode.
Yes.
And today we are doing the movie review.
Yes.
Listen, we went to the movies.
What we see?
We went to see Good Boys.
Woo.
I had me a kids pack, little popcorn, little drink,
Yes.
and a little bit of gummies.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Listen, I'm No Justin No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And every week we sit down and we have conversations on pop culture, politics, and movies and how they all intersect. And today is our furious movie review of Seth Rogen and what's his Evan Goldberg's movie Good Boys.
Good Boys. Ooh,
I'm a fan already.
Yes.
Of these two.
Did you watch Sausage Party?
No, I didn't watch Sausage Party, but I'm pretty sure I've seen everything else.
Right. Yes.
Everything else, starting. I love Superbad.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorites.
Okay.
I forced my wife to watch it, and she laughed. But it's for a certain type of humor.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy a certain type of humor to enjoy it. But listen, I love them. I love Knocked Up.
Yes.
She like Knocked Up too. What else? What else came from them?
Funny People? Did they do Funny People?
I'm not sure if they did Funny People.
No, I think that was the other dude. I can't remember.
This is 40. Did they do This is 40?
Yeah, it's part of the whatchamacallit.
The universe. Yeah. Listen, they did a lot of movies.
They did.
But they always coming with the funny.
Right.
Oh, this is the end. They did This is the end.
This is the end is one of my favorites.
Listen, they're really, really good, fun writers. I watched an interview with Seth Rogen was with Jerry Seinfeld on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. Okay. And apparently they have an office and they just sit down on one desk and they just pass the keyboard or laptop back and forth. It's just be writing.
Oh my gosh.
Just be writing. I got to read this one because it was really good. Listen, Good Boys, guys. Yeah.
The script is phenomenal. Like
fantastic.
I was out there. I was just like, yo, they making sure that they are staying on top of the jokes.
Joke.
I mean, it's tough because you're watching kids do it.
Yes.
But I mean, it's hilarious.
But that's part of the whole shtick of the show. Like, if adults were doing it, it wouldn't nearly be as funny.
You could tell a couple of the scenes, especially like with the adults.
Yeah.
Like that the kids are not there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, but it's hilarious.
Yes.
It's hilarious. I forgot the three kids' names. The one kid I know.
Yeah, I don't remember their names.
But for kids, they're pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
But the movie's not for kids.
It's definitely not for. Do not make the mistake you did with Sausage Party. Do not bring your kids. It's not for
the movie's called Good Boys, but if you take your kids, they may become bad boys.
Yeah, easily.
This is definitely not for kids. Listen, it's a coming to age story.
Yes, it is.
Which they do very well.
Yes.
They do very well, and they explore that awkwardness of the time, and I believe they got that all right.
Right.
It's very awkward at this moment.
The great part is everybody goes through this. It's the unveiling of the world that you don't know as a child, and you're just getting into.
Don't know about your parents,
right? You don't know about your parents. You don't know about sex. You don't know about drugs, and like. Especially dealing with
drugs were not cool at that time.
Dealing with kids who are like about to go to college, and then there's no filter, so you kind of get in all this information and you have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
And the funny for me, the thing that I felt was so funny was the young girl who knows about all this stuff, like the little sister.
Yes, yes. She knows everything.
Oh man, but yes, hilarious.
It was so good. The performances was so great.
Right.
What was really great is like they captured the innocence at that time.
Yes.
Like it was just a lot of things because like you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't know. Not all swings are created equal.
And it's so funny because they're basically, I mean, They're middle schoolers.
Yes.
I mean, I've never gone to like a separate middle school, but
No,
you know
me
that
neither.
most elementary schools are separate from the middle school.
They are.
So once you get to the middle
Whole
school,
new group.
It's right. It's you're the new kid again.
Yes.
Know? And the way that they captured it, the way that they wrote it, so seamless. Like you could remember those expectations. Like, oh, I can't wait. Or this,
it didn't change. It didn't make it worse. I still laughed.
Yeah.
I still, it's so interesting how the story progressed, because if we just went on a journey in a similar fashion of Superbad, where it takes a bulk of it takes place at one day.
Right.
So it's like you just go on this journey and you're just having a good time, and you're just laughing and laughing and laughing out loud. LOL. LOLing.
It's that like you said, it's the loss of innocence. And it's literally the first scene when he's on the computer, he's just starting to figure stuff out,
just starting.
He can't even lock the door right,
not even tie the door right.
Like,
it is the best.
Yeah, but I definitely enjoyed it. The storyline is what really got me, because I was just like, all right, are all the funny parts going to be the stuff from the commercials? No, it wasn't.
It was joke after joke after joke after joke.
And then the best part was, like, we got into maybe 70% of the movie, and I was just like, yo, we've seen everything that was in the commercial. What else is there? Like, that's what I was thinking to myself, like, how do they finish this?
Yes.
So it was...
And it even had a big finish.
Right.
It had a big finish.
Yeah.
Listen... But the interesting thing, as much as it's about the joke, they still actually told a story.
Yeah.
They actually told like a sweet story, which is very interesting. Like as crude as it was, they told a sweet story, and you go back to that time and you realize, like you do grow apart from some people, and but the journeys that you have together, and people become different.
Right.
Like, a lot of times you have the similar interests, and then they just grow. And they become. This one is really into girl. This one is really into schoolwork, and this one, you just start to come into your own. Mm-hmm. And they just balanced it perfectly. The three kid actors, they were just fantastic.
Right.
The movie's just like everybody else is just it's just icing. Everybody, but the stories, they just it's perfect how they present the issue and then solve an issue, and then the issue kind of elongates and they present another roadblock. I think it's a masterclass on writing.
Yeah. Because
it was a lot of comedic movies have lulls.
Right.
They have lulls where you feel like
you're trying to figure out where the story's gonna go.
No. Never happened.
Right.
Never happened.
So, do you think that they make a sequel for when they go to high school?
I would love it.
Yeah, me too.
This could be a 3-parter. Right. Just keep them going.
Not even a 3-parter, a 4-parter.
Just keep it going.
You're gonna have what's the black guy who's always in these movies? Who's always singing?
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson played the boy.
Hilarious.
I could just see it keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious at a certain point.
That might be what they already setting up. It might be what they already setting up. Right. Well, they have to obviously see how well this does.
Right.
They never did a Superbad 2 though, and everybody wanted.
They've always talked about it. So
would love it.
Yeah, see him grown now.
Love it
like that.
Love it. Listen. I had a great time watching this.
Yo, me too.
And I have to read it, because I think this is probably going to be one of the next scripts that I read, because I've always been interested in how it is to read a comedic script, and what it is to write a comedic script.
I always want to know if how many of the jokes are initially written and how many are thrown in later.
Improv, yeah.
So...
You could tell there's certain parts that were probably improv, like, there's certain things, him being on his back when they turned around. You could tell, like, certain things you could tell were added. But, like, the setups, it's a seamless film.
Right.
It's a seamless film.
Definitely. From beginning to end, there was, like, perfect transitioning.
Yes.
It was like every scene that finished led to another scene that developed. And it wasn't like, all right, so this is just going to be the fill scene to get from here to here.
Yes.
Like, it was literally every scene had something, had comedy, had storyline to it, and it's climaxed at the end. I was like, okay.
God damn, they're a fucking talented duo.
Yeah, definitely go see it.
Rate it. Let's go.
Whew, okay, for me, gosh, let's see. Comedy. script, writing, directing. It wasn't. Let me see. As good as it was, because it was, you could tell that they were young. Like you can't do too many takes.
Oh, you definitely can't.
So it's not
the hours
polished,
of work is
right?
not.
It's not super polished because, being a parent, like you can't have them say this many times. Like, all right, we got to get it in the first couple takes, guys. Like, and I mean, on a side
the
note,
moms are at lunch.
right. On a side note, so when I was reading the script as a kid, and it was the first time that I had to curse, and like my parents really wasn't having it.
They were not down with it,
but they were just like, we're gonna go in for this reading, so you gotta practice. And I'm on the train going to Manhattan,
motherfuckers.
Yo, I'm trying to do my best Samuel L. Jackson impersonation. I was just like, all right, maybe this ain't it. But anyways, so I know like it's tough, especially being a kid, and then like
you could have got away with cursing at your parents if you just kept your script in the hand. It was like, go on your own. Fuck that.
Yeah.
What? I'm working on reading the paper. This is on the script.
I'm gonna give it. Gosh. All right. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay.
I was debating whether I should give it a 4.5.
Yeah.
But I want to give it a 4, just because, like I said, that whole little bit of polish that you could do with older, an adult cast that you can't do with a junior cast. So, and I definitely enjoyed it way more than I expected. It definitely exceeded expectations.
I'm giving it that 4.5. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
All right. Okay.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I really, 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 really enjoyed it. This was one of those conversation movies. It's like, yo, did you see Good Boys?
Yeah.
You gotta go see Good Boys, man.
I tried to debate. I was like, is this the funniest movie I've seen this year? Like, that's why I was
definitely
okay. And so crazy part is, I mean, we didn't review this movie, but I was really high on The Long Shot with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
So I
didn't see The Long Shot yet.
You got to watch it. It's
Charlize Theron.
Way better than I expected.
Okay.
Way better. And I think that like when movies exceed my expectations, I want to rate them higher.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, all right, let me not do it because it's just based on exceeding my expectations.
This shit was good. This was on super bad level, dog.
Yeah.
It was on super bad level. I'm not saying it is super bad.
No.
It was on super bad level.
Yeah, no. That's why.
It's a similar formula.
And then that's the whole thing. Superbad is so polished because they're so much older.
Yes.
So it was so much easier to
and they better performers too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have him coming out of Arrested Development.
Michael Cera.
Yeah, and
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Yeah. Like, I mean,
and then but the whole thing is they're like almost 19 at the time. 20.
They're definitely older than
these kids are like 9 to 11.
They really are trying to understand what the people are trying to understand in the movie.
Right. And then I love the fact that they're willing to push. They're willing to make people uncomfortable when you're watching.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, it's funny. I dare you laugh at it.
Anal beads? Yeah. Anal beads?
They smell like shit.
Smell like shit.
I was like...
And then when they brought it back up with the cake.
Oh my God. Anyways, go see it.
You know what's funny? As crude as it was, it's like, yo, kids are so sweet.
Yeah.
It was a weird duality. They're so innocent. The world is just going to fuck these kids up.
Oh, man.
Right. Yo, okay. So, listen, after we watch the film, movies are topical.
Yes.
A little bit more difficult with this movie, but we pull out topics and we like to discuss these topics. Yeah. One of the glaring things, difficulty being young.
Yes.
Because you go through many different stages and there are obstacles. And I feel like, as a parent, even I realize how like people don't give the credence to how difficult it is growing up.
Yes.
Even though we've been through the difficulty of growing up. And when you're a parent, you're always constantly focused on making the best adult.
Right.
Or human being, but adult human being out of this young person and not giving enough credence to how difficult it is to navigate this shit.
Yo, difficult is like beyond. I always think about, all right, so what's the transition like, because it's always going to be about what is the growth. Can they see the growth before it happens, or do they just have to be thrown into it and like, all right, they'll figure it out,
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing where being young, and especially knowing that right when you're a preteen, you're kind of going through, especially all these changes,
Yep.
and especially hormonal.
Oh,
And then by the time you start settling, that's when you start trying to figure out, like, that's obviously the whole personality part where you're trying to actually figure out who you are.
yes.
Because now, like, all right, these changes have happened.
Yeah.
Now
What does it mean for me?
Exactly. So, and I mean, that's usually that next step. Like,
Yeah.
all right, okay, where do we go here?
What am I really into? Right. What do I really want to focus on?
Right. So, and then that's the whole thing is, all right, so at what point, because now kids are growing up so much faster than we grew up.
Yeah.
Like I watch now and I can see, and I'm just like, all right, well, I was probably a couple years older than this before this started to happen, or I was in high school when I just figured this out, or so now the whole thing is, all right, so at what point do you start teaching them these things, or guiding them down this path?
I mean, it's a parent of 4, and I have 3 girls. The one thing I don't want to do is teach my son differently from my girls, because I want to prepare them both in the same way. But I think also the important thing is to prepare them before they get the disinformation. Right. Because the misinformation, you don't want other kids teaching your kids about stuff they can't teach them about.
Right. Stuff that they don't even understand.
They don't even understand. So just bite the bullet, as difficult as it may be, as uncomfortable as it may be. You have to have these conversations, and don't have vague conversations. Right. I don't remember all the sex talk, but I do remember having, the conversation about you're changing, you're getting older, you're going to get some feelings. Sometimes the shit is too vague.
Right.
And I feel like I'm at the point where, like, we need to be specific with our kids so that our kids really get an understanding of what's going on, and they know the feeling before they start to feel it.
Right.
So they don't get questioned it and get misdirected. We have to be a little more open, because the internet is very open to them.
Oh, yes, it is.
And if you search the wrong thing,
yes,
you get a whole different understanding and explanation. Like, everything was so vague. It's like, have sex when you're married, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And even if you believe in those tenements, even if you have to explain them differently. Right. We do have to give the whys now. We have to let kids understand why. And the truth is, the best way to let them understand why is laying out the pros and the cons of you not.
Right.
You're going to make your choice. But the pros and cons of what can happen if you go this route too early, if you go this route too early,
right,
or just wait for this route, is optimal. It's like if you explain certain things like taking protein, some people say it's optimal to take protein right after the workout. Is if you just take it before the work, like it's not getting into your muscles a certain way. So yes, you may have drank the protein, but it didn't affect your body in the best way. It's the same thing about teaching kids about sex and what to do with their body. The optimal time.
Right.
And you still have to give them the leeway to make their decision, because that's all that's going to happen. Equip them with the tools.
So you're a father of 4.
Yes.
I'm a father of 1. My son has just turned 12.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's getting a little bit of height.
He locking doors?
Got the little deep voice. he probably locking the doors the wrong way,
The wrong way,
busting up in there like, hey, what up? What you doing?
Yep.
Hey, but I mean, at this point, I just think I've always been pretty direct and pretty upfront, and I speak to him like, honestly, like I always said, the one thing that like I have to do that no one else has to do is I have to teach him how to be a man. So I kind of always speak to him like, all right, well, this is how we're gonna have talks when you're 20, when you're 30, when you're 40. So I don't ever debate those things. As far as the content, I don't try to filter anything, but like when I think like it's when it's, I don't want to say age appropriate, because I've always treated him older than what he is. So I kind of always feel like, all right, I'm ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And it's just important to like get him enough information or as much information as he can deal with.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
he
yeah,
can do.
yeah.
Like, it's not a thing about like, all right, what am I prepared to give him? No, he's like, I've got to give it to him whether he's prepared or not.
Yeah.
And then and then give it to him again a month later
Yep.
or a couple months later, or oh, this is not something that he's doing. It doesn't matter whether he's doing it or not. Now he's got the information.
Yeah.
He can harvest that. He can see whether or not it's necessary. But then one day when he's just like, oh, that's why he told me.
That's why he told me.
That's the point. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's not that like he deals with a situation, comes to me, and then I'm just like,
You should. Yep.
right. You understand? So that's the only thing that I'm always thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Here it is. Oh, you're not ready? Oh, it's too late.
Preparation is the best.
Yeah.
Especially because, I mean, the most important thing is like, even when your children are going through something, you want to give them the information so they can at least identify it on the way in.
Right.
Like, you know, I think about my daughters, the first time they should be hearing about rape or physical abuse in relationships is not when they're being physically abused.
Exactly.
You know, it's too late to. It start to become too late when you're trying to. No, he doesn't love you,
Right.
because he's no. This is what you need to. These are the signs.
These
This
are
is
red
what.
flags,
These are red
period.
flags.
Right.
Like, you know, this is not the optimal relationship you want to be in, because this leads to this. Not always,
Right.
but sometimes can lead to this. You know, so look at what this is. You know, this isn't love. Overprotecting this isn't love.
Right.
And in the way love exposes itself is not the same from everybody.
Right.
How I protected you at the age of 5 is not how your husband or your spouse should be protecting you at the age of 35.
Right.
They're very different. Correct. You were a 5-year-old child. Now you're a 35-year-old woman. You should have your freedom and your autonomy to be you, and living within that relationship. And the protection should look more like, I will put my life on the line for you, as opposed to, I'm not going to let you do anything. That's called controlling. Right. You don't need to be in that situation. So as they get older, having these conversations, even if they don't understand, even down to the books. My mother brought my daughter 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. And she was like, oh, it looks boring. She started to read it, and she's getting into it. Every chapter she reads, she's required to write a little report on it, little 1-page report. My wife is going through it, and they have a conversation about the chapter. I know she's going to have to read this book probably like 2-3 times, because just like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it's something that you constantly go through in your life. You refer back to it. But sometimes you have to expose your kids to bigger ideas and let them grow to it, and then re-expose them to those bigger ideas. So even now, understanding about their bodies and how they have autonomy over their bodies, and protecting yourself and protecting your bodies, you expose them to that idea. You let them understand in little small ways. And then as they get older, you reaffirm those things, and you just keep growing with it. That's how I see it now. I don't know how I'm going to see it in a month. Maybe I'm thinking about it all wrong. But that's what parenting is about also, too. Like,
it's a brand new experience for us, too.
Yeah, we're learning.
Right.
I got 4 kids, but don't mean like I completed one. Right. It's not
I sent one off check.
Like, I beat that game. Yeah. No, because every day that she is here, like, you know, she's getting older, so it's a new challenge.
Right.
And I'm learning. And even though I may be learning for the next one, I can still get it wrong and have to readjust for the other ones. So, you know, it's all a learning experience. But it's a journey. And the same thing with our kids as they're going on the journey. I think the movie requires us to at least say that respect the journey that your kids are on, and understand that it is a lot for them sometimes. Right. It's a lot for them sometimes. And, you know, just like when you were younger and you were feeling these feelings, and, you know, all of these experiences were happening, and sometimes it could be overwhelming. Give them that space to be overwhelmed, and support them to come back and work through it. Damn. Yo, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg created a great conversation for us today. Listen, Loose Candace Podcast.
Yo.
2 a week, dog.
Yo, we had two a week.
2 a week.
Yeah, we may got a surprise for you next week. Wait for it.
Listen, cultural commentary, movie reviews.
Yes.
We hitting them 2 a week, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I hope they're ready. I hope they're ready for
If they listening to this one, then listen to the last one, go back.
Yep.
If you listen to the first, listen to all of them.
All of them.
We got a list of 20-something episodes. You need to go back down to the first one.
Yes.
I'm no Justin, no peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons. And every week we're firing off our opinions on today's pop culture, politics, and movies and how they all intersect. And we'll see you guys next week on another episode. Peace.
Peace.
Wow.